Hey folks, so the big question of the day is this. What makes us happy? Yeah, it's a very, very, very vague question, and the reason why I bring it up is because, I don't know, I was just watching some philosophical, videos. There was some about, Nietzsche and Epicurean philosophy and whatnot, and everybody has their own idea of what's important. Now, some people say that to wander off by yourself and reflect is what's important. Some people say to be with friends and family and enjoy life is what's important. And the one thing that really got to me was when I started looking on some of these some of the videos about philosophy and acceptance and tolerance. They're supposed to be some of the more mature subjects, and the comments on them are usually very derogatory, egotistical, hateful, basically mostly egotistical, trying to say, well, I don't believe this philosophy is true, or, well, we weren't descended from apes, or we were descended from apes, or I don't think that we need to be suffering to be happy, and, back and forth. Why try to prove anything? I mean, why try to... You're not going to convince anyone that you're right. All you can do is put out your opinions, and if you want to put your opinions forward, that's fine. But don't do it in a way that's condescending to other people. So anyway, what makes us happy is very, very, it's one of those things that people don't like to talk about because it makes them think too deeply. At least the average human that I've met doesn't seem to want to discuss the issues. The more negativity, it seems like, that correlates with a subject or a video or an idea, it seems to get more response. But when you talk about positivity or positive changes, it forces people to reckon with their own lives. Everyone can relate to negativity because we deal with it every day. But if you start telling people that they have to take accountability for their own happiness and they can't buy it, well, they don't necessarily shut you down or ignore you. They just, deep down inside, they don't want to deal with it. It's a subconscious action. Because being truly happy means, yes, you do have to suffer, because without that, happiness would not exist. We need a contrast of emotion in order to really respect the good times and to desire to fulfill those good times again. The advertising industry has convinced us to fill our voids in life with things. And this is my biggest issue. I mean, have you ever spent more than $20 on a pair of pants or a shirt? Why? I mean, is it necessary? Or do we do it to get a brand name? No, I'm not talking about a pair of Levi's. Everybody wants a good pair of jeans now and again. That's different. But they're already overpriced anyway. But what it is you're buying a name most of the time. And you can't lie to yourself if you walk around in public and notice that your label's not hanging out. So you say, take off a jacket and be a little colder so you can show your new shirt off. Or put that jacket on that you just bought on a hot day, even though you're roasting, and sweat a little bit more just so you can show off your new jacket. This is something we've all done in our lives. I mean, everybody's been through their teenage years and wanted to show off. I was the guy in the MC Hammer pants and the Persian Gulf Yacht Club t-shirt. I was a skater, kind of a, Hesher, metalhead skater guy, but I didn't really have a style. I didn't spend money on labels, but I did still label myself as a person, certain type of dress, certain way of being. And I understand that, but it's something that we need to let go of as we get older. And what we're doing is we're trying to hold on to this idea that we've been fed, or that our parents had been fed from the 40s up through the 90s, that, this will make you happy. These things will make you happy. These things will make you happy. It's over and over and over embedded into our heads that the American dream. I mean, you ask anybody, what's the American dream? Oh, a nice house with a white picket fence, a little two-story, colonial house with a dog, and a happy wife and a happy husband with 2 kids. I mean, it's all relative to the person and the perspective of the individual. So if one person wants to say this is what brings happiness, well, they're wrong, because that's not true, unless they're getting to the deeper understanding of life. Now, when a person says true happiness comes from understanding, well, that's not true either, because understanding brings more questions. As we all know, when you're searching for the meaning of life, every discovery brings 2 more questions with it. And that's what they mean when they say that the more you know, the more you realize, or the less you know, the less you really know. It's because you are opening yourself up to more ideas, and you're not just being happy with a simple thing. Now, if you can sum up your life with go to work, come home, watch TV, go shopping on the weekends, and take a vacation once a year, then you need to step back and kind of maybe look at what's important. Because if the things that you possess, that you value today, could disappear tomorrow, if those values could be eliminated from your life tomorrow, then they're not true values. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. If shopping is important to you, to buying fancy labels, well, if the economy collapsed and those labels all went out of business, those things would mean nothing. Those shirts would mean nothing. All those labels and all those fancy hats with the tags hanging off would mean nothing. Your image would mean nothing. So clothes for image mean nothing. Money means nothing. It's just paper. It doesn't bring happiness. It just buys things that you think will make you happy temporarily. But if I wanted to sum up happiness and what it really means to be happy, I would have to say that it comes from deriving a true happiness from within, having nothing in your possession. To be able to walk up to the top of a mountain, stand there and look at the sunset, and sit there in quiet contemplation, meditation for a moment, and feel that giddy just happiness and excitement you get from just being out in nature. If you're lucky enough to have that. I think today a lot of people just think nature's dirty and they want to get home. But if you can find that subtle happiness, it'll never leave you, and you'll have it with you for the rest of your life. And that's what I'm working towards, is finding an eternal happiness that never subsides. And I just don't... I just wish I could share some of my ideas with people without having such a hard time explaining where I'm coming from, because I don't really have a basis for opinions on life. I just live what I know to be true in my heart. And I guess the reason why I made this was that I just it really saddens me that even on, like, say, Facebook, where people will like companies and credit card companies and car dealers and like, I mean, who the fuck likes their bank? I mean, really, it's a bank, you know. But if they tell you that you're might maybe win a prize or enter into a drawing, people like it. You know, everything has become so commercialized. There's nowhere to escape it anymore. You can't walk down the street without being bombarded with advertisements and signs for shit you need, that you think you need. You can't even go on Facebook without being bombarded with shit you need. You can't go on YouTube without being bombarded with shit you need. Anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world. And this is why I say the internet, is because there's only two worlds out there. There's the real world and there's the cyber world. And we're both being attacked by telling us what we need. And true happiness comes from none of those things. And it's such a cliche, you know. It's like, yeah, money doesn't buy happiness, blah, blah, blah. And I've heard many people argue that, no, money doesn't buy happiness, but it sure helps you temporarily. And that's true too. But within another few, a few years, whether it be a few days, few weeks, few years, or maybe a few decades, eventually that will subside. And the excitement of having money will subside. And you'll be stuck with yourself again. So having all the things, there's nothing wrong. You don't have to give up all your things. You don't have to give up all your possessions and become a monk. But don't expect those things, those material things, to buy you out, buy your true happiness, because it never works. And to all the folks out there who, who are interested in, the higher meanings of life and understanding deeper thoughts, try to respect one another, even online. I know you may not be face to face, but when a philosophy becomes an argument, it's no longer a philosophy. So much love to everybody, and I hope that your happiness comes in your own time, and that you find a way to back out of society without having to completely withdraw, because I know we all have to be members here. We all have to work. We all have to do what we do. But we don't have to do what other people do. Peace out.